This conference will now be recorded.
Right. So today we are going to discuss about the content what we are going to cover in payments domain first. Right. So once we discuss about this content, we go to the session. As you know, payments domain importance and all everything nowadays has increased phenomenally due to the digital payments and all that. Because of the digital payment system, importance has increased due to various reasons and factors. Importance of payment systems and all everything has increased a lot. These payments will be of different types. Either you may be paying the transactions and all either by the way of cash or through card payments or through wallets or through online banking system, right? So these are the different ways of payments which we do for the purpose of personal followed by professional transactions. The content starts with this, which I have divided all this training and all everything into modules. So there are, or on an average, there are almost eight modules will be there. You can see 8 to 9 modules, you can say. Which the first module, which explains is about what is payment system is all about and how it is important. Because payment system is the one which is something an integral part of financials. Means what are the financial transactions we do, either in terms of the banking transactions or when we go to some shop wherein we want to buy something and all that. So there is a payment structure or payment process which is something involved in it. So whatever the financial transaction we do across the world, against to the product or against to the services what we have given to the people, there is a something relating to the payment which is involved underlined. So we must be knowing about how important payment system is all about. At the same time, in the first module, we are going to understand about how it works in a high level explanation. Remember here, I am not going to provide you the detailed explanation of the working process of payment system in this first module. Whatever the explanation I'll be going to provide is all a high level explanation. This is not the low level one. Because whatever the payment structure we follow, either in terms of the cash payments or the kind of online transfers and all everything, the structure and as well as the payment system and all everything, the process and all everything will be of different type. Hence each and everything will be discussed in detail in later times. At the same time, when with reference to the payment process itself is concerned, who are going to involve in this, right? Who are the people involving in this payment domain? At the same time, what are the different types of payments followed by the networks? This is what generally we do in first module, because this first module will give you a clear understanding about why payment system is all about, so how it is important, how it functions in a high level understanding. At the same time, what are the different modes of the payment we have followed by the networks. So this gives you a clear understanding about the basic part of the payments, right? This is all something comes under the first one. Module 1 will be covering you about the whole system of the payments, what are the system of payments we have and all. At the same time, we would like to know about the importance of payments and all that, right? All these things will be covered in the first module. This is a basic thing. Whereas in the second module, we are going to cover about the business process flow in payments, because whenever there is a process flow which is being happening by us, which we are going to follow, in terms of the business process flow is concerned, what are the different processes we follow? Because as I mentioned and stated earlier, if you do card transactions and all, the kind of process what we do is something different when you are comparing with online transfers. Again, online transfers, domestic transfer will be different, whereas international transfers was different. Because nowadays, as you know, even whatever the services are we getting, or whatever the online services are we receiving across world from different services, we are doing online transfers and all, right? So there is lot many things which we need to be focused more on, right? What are the different process flows we have, right? At the same time, how different the process of the payments and all everything, varying from one type of payment to other type of payment, all that will be explained in the second module. Whereas in the third module, where you will be knowing about the different types of bank payments what we do. Of course, Swift payment and all, everything will also be comes under the financial banking payments and all. But still, Swift and all, everything will be discussed as separate. So prior to the Swift and all that, we must be knowing about what are the different payments we do in terms of the banking transactions, which we were doing for domestic purpose. Means either we are doing some either something relating to the RTGS or something relating to NEFTs, right? All these things and all, everything will be discussed in the third module. Whereas the fourth module will be discussed majorly focusing on the kind of card transactions what we do and how we do it. Because again, these card transactions and all, everything varying depends on the kind of card it was, followed by the type of transaction. Because the type of card may vary in between credit and debit card, right? Hope you know the important difference between credit and debit, right? Credit card where some amount of money will be given based upon the credit record history of us. So whatever the payment we do on that, if there is a late charges and all, we have to pay some interest out of it on it. Whereas debit card, it's something like the card which we have it is in our account, for that debit card will be issued. But when it comes to the network itself is concerned, because most of the people have some confusion over the networks, that because whatever the Visa, MasterCard, whatever the words are we using and all, everything are not the names of cards, right? Remember that point well. Those are the not the names of the cards. Those are the names of networks what we are using, because Master, Visa, right? All these things are rupee, or these are the networks which will be used to process the transaction of the payment, right? So this is what generally the fourth module will be covered here. Apart from the fourth module, the fifth module will be called as clearing houses, because these clearing houses and all, everything will be of different types. ACH, right? ACH clearing houses and all, everything will be there, wherein large scale activities and all, everything in banking transactions and all that, these clearing houses will be taken care of, because there are different vendors who will be looking after all these aspects. Fifth module is exclusively relating to the wallets, because nowadays the important and as well as the usage of wallets and all, everything has increased phenomenally, because different wallets we are using. Either we may be using Amazon Pay, or we may be using other different Samsung Pays, or extensively using by Paytms, Google Pay, Phone Pay, right? So different wallets. Through wallet, the advantage nowadays in wallets is that we don't require to carry any kind of physical amount of cash and all, everything into this, because we don't need it all. No physical cash and all, everything is required. So apart from the physical cash and all, what we can do here is we can using this wallets, where this wallet can be connecting with the bank account of ours. So whenever we want, money can be transferred from wallet to from bank account to the wallet, so that wallet will have some limit of amount. Whenever we are going outside, without using cash indirect, wallet can be used for the transaction, so that we don't touch anything, right? So directly we can scan the barcode scanner and all, everything through that, and we can do payments accordingly, right? This is how generally the importance of wallets, you could see nowadays, has increased a lot. After that, we are going to discuss about the seventh module, which majorly focusing on Swift processing, all that. Because let me explain you about the high level view of Swift processing. Normally Swift processing are the one which majorly happens in international transactions. As I stated, if I am not wrong, whenever I explained in the beginning days, if you remember, I explained this to you. Swift processing is the payment which normally we do when we are buying. Means the best example I can give you, right? One of example I can do. So you, for example, especially the Swift process and all, everything used not only for individuals, it is being used for the traders as well, because some trader wants to pay some payments overseas, right? Because for example, he has bought some raw material, against to the raw material what he has purchased, he wants to pay some payment out of it. So whenever a person wants to pay payment for that, what is required here? When a person wants to pay the payment against to that, normally it must be converted into that currency, because whatever the currency, there is a difference between the currency what one country is using to other country, right? So there will be a difference between the currencies, which we must be very clear with. So there are again two types, because this is Swift is a process, is a network where we can do using through messaging systems and all, whatever the payment structure or payment process and all, everything will be done. But this payment, this Swift process and all, everything, we have two different variants, because both the parties may be on the same network of Swift, the process will be of different. Whether if these two people are not in the same network and all that, so third party person will come in between. So through third party payment, whatever the payment structure or the payment process and all, everything will be happens. Against to that, there will be some service charges which will be taken by the third party vendor and all that. Next, cross border payments means, as you mentioned, you international payment structures, all that, followed by SO 2022 codes, all that, right? So these are the aspects which will be covered in the 7th module. Whereas in the 8th module, because our major importance of learning payments domain is not only an exclusive domain training, but it's also linked up with business analyst role, because business analyst in payment domain, this is what our program structure is all about. Hence, it is important for us to know about the basic concept of business analysis, why business analyst required for any kind of organization, what kind of roles and responsibilities a business analyst is rendering nowadays, and how the requirement analysis and all, everything will be taken place. Followed by this, when you are trying to understand, for this reason, what we are doing in this training is, I'm going to provide you the case study, something relating to the payments domain. So based on the case study, how to conduct, how to do the requirement analysis, because requirement analysis, requirements management communication, or writing down user stories, epics, whatever it is something same for any domain, because being a business analyst, whichever the domain are we working with, either we are working for a payments domain, or we are working for a investment banking domain, or you may be working for healthcare or retail, process of performing the roles and responsibilities of the business analyst remains the same. But there will be a difference where we have to see and we observe is this, the kind of systems and the applications what they do. For example, if you take an application for a banking, bank people uses different applications, something like core banking, right? Core banking is an application which is used to manage back-end operations of it. At the same time, like this, banks, financial institutions and all, everything, to manage their business process and all that, they use different applications and all. By considering all this in view, being a business analyst, it is our responsibility to understand the basic structure of payments domain, how it works. At the same time, through this case study, we will be knowing about how exactly the problem we understood, what kind of applications are they using at this point of time, because of course application training and all may not be possible practically, because different licensed softwares and the applications will be used in real environment by the people, may not be possible for us in terms of the training is concerned, because we may not have the free licenses or something like, right? So because there are a lot of restrictions, hence we cannot move on to that. Hence, we must be knowing about the importance of payment domain in reference to the requirements of the customer is concerned. So normally, whatever the requirements we have understood, that has to be translated into business requirements first, being a BA, followed by business requirement. This has to be translated into technical requirements also. These technical requirements will give us a clear understanding about how application has to be developed, because normally this is what generally technical team will take care of. Technical team, something like developers, testing people, all these people will try to understand what kind of solution are we going to provide in terms of the uh, payment domain is concerned, and what kind of technologies to be used and all, everything will be decided by them. Followed by that, whatever the feasibility analysis, right, stakeholder management and all, everything are regular in business analyst, because those are all the responsibilities and roles, or the activities, or the performances and all, everything were common irrespective of the domain and technology we are using in BA training. At the same time, we will be learning how to write documents, something like different documents, like as business requirements, software requirements documents and all that. At the same time, nowadays agile importance has grown much bigger nowadays, because all the organizations are transforming towards themselves into agile environment, right? That is how generally the transformation has been taken place, because everything has transformed to agile environment. So whenever the transformation has been taken place, the advantage here is nowadays everything is agile. So being a business analyst, normally we works as a product owner. In spite of writing documents, something like BRDs, SRS, all that, it is always helpful for us to understand the requirements, defining the epics, writing the user stories, followed by product backlog maintenance and all everything by a business analyst. Hence, in agile world, if you see closely, in short, business analyst will act as a product owner in majority of the occasions. If you are being a business analyst, when as a part of requirement communication, we are writing different documents as I stated, BRD, SRS and all. When it comes to agile environment, in spite of document preparation, we'll be focusing more on writing user stories and all that. So this is what the whole content of payments domain training in reference to the BA role is concerned. So for that, we must be knowing about the whole structure of payment domain, how it functions, how it works, what are the different types of payments we have, the kind of network we follow in terms of the payment structure is concerned. So this is what the whole structure of payments domain, which we will be learning in coming days onwards, right? So this is what the content I am going to cover. Now I'm going to explain the introduction part in the payments, because this is the first session we are doing with. Here we are going to discuss about the payment system, what exactly payment system is all about. So it is not something rocket science to understand, because everybody knows well about this, but still, as it is a coaching and training session, it is always inevitable for us to explain about the introductions parts and all that. With reference to the payments, as I told you, there are different types of payments which are involved in this. Either these payments maybe belongs to cash payments, either sometimes we may be paying these payments and all everything through card, wallets, as well as online processes and all that. Against to the goods or the services what we have taken, whatever the kind of payments and all everything we do and all everything comes under payment system. Now normally how it works, so whatever I am going to show you and whatever I am showing you is all about the high level understanding about payment structure as well as the gateway, how it follows, because there are two things in any payment structure. There will be two things. One is acceptance, second is sending, right? Sending and acceptance means someone is accepting against to the payment sent by someone, or sending someone payment wherein against to that acceptance will be taken place same way. So there is a payment gateway which normally helps any people to either to send or to accept payments and all everything in regular intervals. In most of the transactions, volume of the transactions, if you see, there are two type of payments will be available. One is against to the services or the goods what we have taken. The kind of payments what we do being a customer is different. At the same time, whatever the financial transactions we are doing online by sending money and all everything to other people across the world through different modes, something like Swift processing and all everything is also another payment structure. So there are two kind of payment structures which are available. One is about customer related payments, followed by the second relating to the financial transactions what we are doing. When it comes to the customer relations, because when we are talking about the customer, or when we are talking about, because normally whatever the generalized structure of payments we do and all everything happens through customer related kind of stuff. But you must be knowing about, before we are jumping on to payments domain detailing and all that, one must be knowing about what are the people and who are the people are involving in it, because there will be some people who will be involving when the process of transaction is happening. Okay, because it's not something as different, because we must be knowing about who are the people who are going to involve in this. When we talk about the involvement and all, there are a lot of people who are involving in this. The first we call it as card holder. Card holder nothing but the person who is going to pay the payment for different reasons. This is what generally we call it as card holder stands for. Means card holder means the person who is going to pay for the money for the services what they have received. Either it is a service or it may be a product. Next, second, we call it as merchant. Merchant, nothing but the person who is receiving. For example, when we go to a retail store, whenever against to the products what we have taken, we are going to pay some amount of money to them. So whenever we are paying some money, this money of transaction and all everything may happen in different ways. Either you are paying money directly by cash, or else there is a possibility that we'll be giving some card to pay the payment. So whenever we have given some card and all everything to the merchant, so merchant, what normally merchant will do, there is a credit card reader will be there. So whenever we have given the card, so card reader will be identifying the kind of card it was and all that. So based on the transactions and all, everything will be taken place. But end of the day, who are the beneficiary here? Merchant is the beneficiary. So a merchant followed by the merchant bank, because every merchant will have some account, either in terms of different type of accounts it may be having. There will be an account which is something available to that. So merchant followed by the merchant bank is also a part of the involvement in the payment process. At the same time, network is also important. As I stated in the beginning, when I explained you about the course content, if you remember, I explained the same to you. Network is something essential and important when we are working on payments domain, because this networking may be of different types. Either it may be a MasterCard network, or it may be a Visa, or it may be Rupee or something of that sort, right? So different networks will be there. But again, these networks and all everything slightly varying depends upon the card what we are using, right? Because even though if you take credit card or debit card, network remains the same, right? For example, if you take Visa as a network, Visa is a network which is something remains the same, either it is a debit card or a credit card. The difference is very simple. Debit card is the one which is being used by us based upon the cash which is available in our accounts personally. But whereas credit card is the one based upon the goodwill, whatever the banks is giving some amount of loan, I can say. In simple terms, we can call it as a loan, some amount of short-term loan given by the bank for the benefit of, for the purpose of doing some transactions and all everything is comes under credit card. But network and all everything, working space and all everything, work process and all everything will be remains the same. But it is purely depends upon the kind of issuer who are going to issue it, in what way they are going to issue something essential and important when we are working on the payments. At the same time, how the payment processors are involving in it, what are the different processes we do and all everything will be there. So when there is a payments domain, when there is a payment which is involved in working on some kind of payments, in terms of the purchases is concerned, I'm saying this, right? So I'm not saying something relating to the international transactions, but of course in international transactions there are two ones. One is sender, second is receiver, right? Sender is sending money to the receiver account, wherein that will be credited to his account directly. So but even though there is no direction, process will be followed through different messaging system, this can be done for. So that detailing explanation and all everything will be given to you later. Now these are the people who are going to involve. So the kind of slide which I am going to show you, the kind of example what I am giving to you is something relating to that, the kind of services what we have taken against to that, what we are going to do, how we are going to do is what generally this involvement is all about. Now today we are going to explain about the type of payments, what are the different types of payments we have and all that. The first we call it as cash payments, as you know well, because any services we have taken, normally we do some transactions and all everything through cash, right? Because we are paying some amount of money to them against to that. At the same time, whatever the balance of amount and all everything will be returned back by the merchant, right? This is one kind of payment. Second will be called as check payments. Check payments means wherein we have given check to someone. So that check can be taken in two ways. Either you can give a check which is something on one's name, so that individual can go to the bank and can take money directly from your account because you have given the check personally. Or else we can give a crossed check where a person can go and deposit in his account. So whenever it comes to the clearances and all that, based upon the availability of money, money will be deducted from our account and it will be credited to the recipient's account. This is how generally check payments will be taken care of. But when it comes to debit and credit cards, as you know well, nothing much to explain in this. At the same time, wallets was already explained in the beginning time, because wallets, different wallets nowadays were there, right? You can see Amazon Pay is for one thing, one wallet which is used nowadays. Extensive used is like GPay, PhonePe, Paytm. All these were comes under wallets, where wallets are not only used for the payments and all that. Of course, nowadays, in order to expand their business activities, lot of services were also used, being providing by the wallets and all nowadays. So that is also an additional thing. At the same time, last but not least, this is what we call it as electronics bank transfer. Electronic bank transfer, nothing but the kind of transactions what we do, in what way are we going to do the transactions, means online transfers and all that. These online transfers, again, because most of the expertise or exposure what being an individual we are learning nowadays, everything is something relating to this stuff, because whatever the payments we are doing against to the products we have purchased and all, everything, that sort of limitation, that sort of exposure requires limitation, right? So there you don't see much means you don't see much business in it, means in terms of the learning perspective I'm saying. But major focus what we have to be focused more on about electronic bank transfers, because nowadays the global wide everything is global now. So a person who can sit anywhere across the world can learn new things, right? Against to the learning things and all that, he may be going to pay to the coach or trainer and all, everything through online. So each and every transactions, everything was connecting to electronic payments. These electronic payments need not be paid directly by giving some bank account numbers and all, because bank account numbers may be account details and all, everything may be used for the domestic transactions. But whereas practically speaking, if you can see from the larger perspective, followed by this, if you can see from international transfers itself is concerned, domestic payments and all, everything may not be used, may not be accessible, because you will be having either you may be having an MSCR code or IFSC code, which may not be sufficient enough to do transactions and all online for all the ways. Hence, at the same time, in order to increase the security things, like, because when there is a financial transaction is involved, there will be some sort of security issues will also be there, which has to be make sure, because when we are doing some electronic transfers, especially in a larger amount, there is some sort of security which is required. So nowadays extensively there is a process called swift messaging system. That is one kind of system I am saying. That's no, I am not saying only that. That is one kind of swift messaging system which is being used nowadays, where whatever the transactions and all, everything happens through messaging system, because whenever we have sent a message to the recipient's account and all that, so based upon the message what we have received and all, the money will be debited from the person account and it will be credited in the recipient's account based on different ways. So all these things comes under electronic bank transfers, apart from NEFTs, RTGS and all, because NEFTs and all, everything will be done for a minimum amount, whereas RTGS and all, everything will be done for a money which is more than the limit, right? Somewhere in Indian rupees more than 2 lakhs or something of that sort, RTGS has to be done. Otherwise, before that, NEFTs and all, everything can be done with. This is all something comes under electronic bank transfers. So these are the types of payments which normally available in payments mode and all that, right? So this is what the introduction of about payments, followed by the importance of payment. At the same time, what are the different payments we have, payment systems with payments we have, modes of payments I'm going to say, followed by this, what are the different payment networks we have and all that. So this is all the introduction part which I have covered now. So if you have any queries in reference to that, you please go ahead.
No queries, sir.